Hello students, I am Piyush Arora. Today we will start with the introduction to programming in Java. First of all, we will discuss about the syllabus. We have 16 modules. First is programming languages, then second is object-oriented programming concepts, introduction to Java, Java fundamentals, data types conversions, operators in Java, math functions, input-output methods in Java, packages in Java, classes and objects, scope of variables, functions, creating objects, that is called instantiation, conditional and decision statements, iteration and looping statements, strings and string functions, arrays, sorting and searching, exception, that is called error handling. So these are the 16 modules which we will cover, and this will complete the whole syllabus of Java programming for ISC and ICSC classes. So first of all, we start with programming languages. We will understand what are programming languages. So students, to communicate with each other, we use natural languages like English, Hindi, Malayalam, Kannada, etc. Similarly, we use a special language a computer can understand to perform the task given to it, and this can be achieved by computer programming languages. These are instructions given to the computer in sequence for solving various problems using the symbols, words, and rules of the particular language. Now, what is a program? A program is a sequential set of instructions in any programming language to solve a certain problem. Programmer. Now, who is a programmer? A person who writes a program is known as a programmer. The programming languages are divided into two categories. Number one, system programming language, and number two, application programming languages. Now we first understand the system programming languages. What are these? These programming languages are used to write system programs like operating systems used to manage the resources and overall operations of a computer. That is, for example, Windows, Unix, Linux, Xenix, DOS, VAX, Apple Macintosh systems. All these operating systems are used to manage the computers, without which the computer is a dead machine. So you can just assume that computer is a hardware and operating system is a software which runs the hardware to manage the resources and overall operations of the hardware. So this is all about system programming languages. Application programming languages. These programming languages are used to write programs related to specific areas like banking system, tax system processing, stock maintenance system, payroll system, etc. of an organization. So these application programming languages are the languages like Java, like C++ can also be used for that purpose. Earlier we used to have COBOL to build these types of applications. Now we are having Python and many types of languages which are used for application programming. There are thousands of languages for programming applications. Now we come to the programming approaches, types and concepts. There are two types of programming concepts: procedure oriented programming and object oriented programming. Now we understand the approaches of procedure oriented programming. A procedural language is a type of a programming concept which specifies a series of well-structured steps and procedures within its programming context to compose a program. It describes programs as groups of code units which define input and output parameters. For example, BASIC, COBOL, C, Fortran, Pascal, etc. This is also called top-down approach. So this was the earlier concept which we used to have in programming while we used to write programs, and this ensured that many routines and many subroutines had to be completely written for writing a full program, and it was a very cumbersome and difficult process to write program using procedure oriented programming approach. This is an old concept. The latest concept is object oriented programming, which is called OOP. And object-oriented programming is organized, focused around objects and data rather than procedure and logic. The OOP focuses on the real-life entities termed as objects which have their own characteristics, properties, and behavior or methods. The main advantage of OOP is to make complex program software faster to develop and easier to maintain. The reusability and recycling concepts of OOP has a great advantage in programming. For example, C++, Java, C#, Python, etc. These are all OOP, or you can say object-oriented programming languages, which use this concept. This is also called bottom-up approach. So these are the two approaches for programming which are being used now, and the latest one is the OOP. Principles of object-oriented programming. So first we understand what is an object. An object is a kind of entity like table, pencil, computer, CD, etc., which has some characteristics, that is called identity, behavior, that is called function, and state, that is on, off, or out of order state. Example, a pen can be recognized by its shape, size and color. Its behavior function is to write, and its state can be on or off. That is, when it is being used to write something, we can say it is on, and when it is just kept idle, we can say it is in off state. So every object-oriented programming language includes objects with following principles. These are the 4 principles of object-oriented programming: encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, and inheritance. First, we will understand what is encapsulation. Now, encapsulation means when many objects are combined and encapsulated to form a single object, it is known as encapsulation. Like in medicines, we know that a capsule contains a mixture of many medicines in form of a powder, which is an example of encapsulating combinations of medicine into a single unit called capsule. So this same concept is used in programming also. Many objects are combined and clubbed together to form a single unit, that is called encapsulation. So abstraction. The second object-oriented programming concept is abstraction. The act of representing essential features of an object without knowing its background details is known as abstraction. That is, for example, a music player is turned on and we press some selected button to listen to our choice of music. We only know about certain controls like volume, bass, treble, equalizers, etc. But we do not know the internal working of the player, that is how the music is selected electronically inside and how the volume, etc. is set internally by the electronic circuit. So the essential features are known to us and non-essentials are hidden in the background, which are not exposed to the outer world. This concept is also known as data hiding. You must be aware of the ATM machine where you only know few features and you just put your card inside, select the pin, and you enter your pin code and enter the money you want. Then the money comes out and you collect your money and go back. This is how you take the money out of ATM machine. But you do not know what goes on internally in the background. That is called abstraction. So this is, I think you must have understood what abstraction is. Now we come to the third point, that is polymorphism. It means many forms, where an object may be defined in many forms but represented by the same name. That is, for example, bike. Now bike can be city bike, can be mountain bike, can be racing bike. So here the bike can be in various forms but the name is bike. So this is the concept which is used in programming. When we do the programming, we will understand this concept more clearly. We will be using and applying this concept in the programming as we go on further. Then the last one is inheritance. The act of acquiring the properties from an existing class by another class is known as inheritance. This feature is same as in real life. We see that the son and daughter inherit the genetic properties from their parents as well. So the same process is applied in programming, where the properties of one class are inherited by another class. The class from which the properties are being inherited is called the base class or superclass or parent class, and the class which inherits such properties from the base class is called subclass, child class, or derived class. So this concept is also used in programming. So these are the 4 concepts. Now we come to the introduction of Java. First we understand where Java came from, how it was developed, and what is the latest status of Java. First we will go on with James Gosling and Associates, Sun Microsystems, USA. He was the person behind developing Java language. He developed a language named Oak in 1991 to develop software for controlling electronic devices like TV, VCR, microwave ovens, remote controls, etc. In 1995, the language Oak was renamed as Java, which runs widely on the internet on different types of computers worldwide. Now, types of Java programs. A Java program is composed of data members or variables and method functions. A Java program is commonly divided into following 2 categories: applet program application programming interface, that is called API, or an application program. Applet program. The Java applet is a small application used to add small interactive components or enhancement to a web page. These may consist of buttons, scrolling text, choice options, etc. Second is applications programming interface, that is called API. The standalone Java program that runs as a true application without the browser using JVM, that is called Java Virtual Machine, is known as application programming interface or application program. These applications are run directly using the Java interpreter, that is using mobile applications, web applications, embedded systems, scientific applications, GUI, web servers, etc. Now we understand the concept of source code. What is a source code? This is also called a high level code. The programming statement that is written in English in Java using standard rules and syntax which is written and understood by programmers or humans. That is the program which we write in English statements is known as the source code or the high level language program. Okay, high level program. Object code, that is called the machine or low level code. The compiled, interpreted, error-free program to be finally executed on the machine, that is the computer, which is understood by the machine, is called the object code. That is the program which is in machine code in zeros and ones, which is understood by the computer, and the computer is enabled to run that program. That is called machine code or low level language or machine language. So this is not understood by us. The computer compiler or the interpreter converts our source program from English language to the machine language, and then the program is executed, and finally we get the answer on the screen. So that is the process. So source code is the high level and object code is the low level. Then what is interpreter? A type of a translator program used to translate a high level language program into a machine level or low level language step by step or line by line is called interpreter. In other words, we can say that converting a source program to an object code line by line or step by step, it is called interpreter. Now compiler. What is a compiler? A type of a translator program used to translate a high level language program into a machine level or low level language at once together is called a compiler. So the whole program is taken together and converted into 0 and 1, that is called a compiler. In other words, converting a source program to an object program at once as a whole program. Third point is bytecode. Now this is very important when we understand the Java language. This is a very important concept. Bytecode. What is a bytecode? This is a platform independent code in which Java compiler converts the Java source code into a machine independent program code that can be easily understood and executed by the computer. The bytecode is not machine specific and a computer can only execute the machine specific code. So to execute the bytecode, Java interpreter has to be loaded into the computer's memory, which is JVM. JVM means Java Virtual Machine. So bytecode is actually an intermediate code, or you can say it is a independent code which can be easily understood by the computer, and this makes Java as a platform independent language. Further, we will understand this concept when Java Virtual Machine concept is clear. First, we will understand what Java Virtual Machine is, JVM. This is a virtual machine, some set of instructions that enables a computer to run Java programs that are compiled to Java bytecode. This ensures that the program will run irrespective of the platform type of computer on which is to be executed worldwide. It is an interpreter for the bytecode and is different for different platform. Now this Java Virtual Machine makes sure that the bytecode which it receives gets converted into the native machine by the Java Virtual Machine. So this is actually a program which converts the bytecode into the native machine on which the program is being run. So irrespective of the platform, whether it is a DOS platform, whether it is a Apple platform, whether it is another Unix platform, Java Virtual Machine will run your program in any of the operating systems without need to change the program. So this is a very versatile, or you can say very good feature of Java, which enables the Java language to work on all the types of computer, because Java is an internet language and we do not know on which computer the program is going to run when it is being downloaded or uploaded on machines. So this feature, bytecode and Java Virtual Machines together, make sure that the program of Java is platform independent. Now we come to the Java compilation process. Java compilation is a two-stage process. During the compilation, the Java compiler compiles the source code and generates the bytecode. Second process is the bytecode is then interpreted by JVM into the native object code of the particular computer platform and finally executed, which ensures the platform independent nature of Java. Now we understand the Java environment. It includes a large number of development tools, number of classes and functions and methods. The development tools are part of the system known as Java Development Kit, JDK. The classes and methods are the part of Java Standard Library, JSL, also known as Application Programming Interface. Now some features and characteristics of Java. Number one, platform independent. It is a platform independent language. The change in the platform or environment, that is the operating system, will not affect the Java program. Second is write once, run anywhere. That is called WORA, W-O-R-A. The program written in Java can be successfully executed on other platforms without any change. Object-oriented language. Java supports OOP concept, which enables easier and convenient program development. User-friendly environment. Java can be used by the beginners with fundamental knowledge of programming. Simple coding. Java coding is simple and does not require complex instructions. Robust, that is strong. Java has a feature of automatic memory management and garbage collection with a strong error checking handling routine that makes Java a robust language. Secured. Java has many inbuilt security features that make the system secure from crash and virus free. Now we understand the concept of objects and classes. What is an object? An identifiable entity which has some characteristics, state and behavior. For example, bike, car, chair, table is called an object. Class, a group of collection of similar types of objects. A class is also called a blueprint of an object. So here is a simple Java program. Class hello Java, void welcome, int abc, a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2, c is equal to 3, system out println hello Java abc. Now when we do this program on the computer and execute this program after compilation, we get the output hello Java 123. This is a small introduction to a Java program. We will understand programming as we go on further. This is a small introduction. Now a little homework for you. What is a program? How many types of programming languages are there? What is OOP? What is a source code and object code? What is bytecode? What is JVM? Explain compiler and interpreter. What is JDK? What is object and class? So we end our session here. I hope you must have understood some concepts. So just read the chapter once again and do the homework. All the best and thank you.